Hey, I'm Emma. Welcome to Revenge Pulse, where every story hits different. Hit subscribe and let's dive in. The roast chicken sat perfectly golden in the center of Mom's dining table, surrounded by roasted vegetables and fresh bread. Sunday dinner at the Morrison house, a tradition that had survived 3 decades to family relocations and countless arguments. I passed the green beans to my left, where my sister Natalie sat scrolling through her phone with one hand while accepting the dish with the other. Nat, put the phone away, Dad said mildly. I'm checking work emails, Natalie replied, not looking up. Some of us don't get to clock out at 5. Mom beamed. That's what I love about you, sweetheart. Such dedication. I cut a piece of chicken and said nothing. The familiar ache of invisibility settled over me like an old coat. How's the museum, Claire? Aunt Linda asked, passing me the potatoes. Good. We just secured funding for before I forget, Mom interrupted, turning to Natalie. Tell everyone about your promotion. Natalie finally set down her phone, her face lighting up. Assistant Marketing Director, $65,000 a year. I start the new role next month. The table erupted in congratulations. Dad raised his wine glass. Uncle Tom clapped. Aunt Linda grabbed Natalie's hand and squeezed it. We're so proud of you, Mom said, her eyes actually tearing up. After everything you've been through, you deserve this. Everything she'd been through. The phrase hung in the air like incense. 3 years ago, Natalie had gone through a divorce. Messy, public, expensive. She'd moved back to Seattle from Portland with nothing but her clothes and her car. Mom and Dad had immediately converted the guest room into Natalie's suite. She needs our support, Mom had said when I'd visited. She's been through trauma. I'd nodded. Agreed. Helped move furniture. What nobody knew was that 2 weeks after Natalie moved home, she'd called me at midnight. Claire? I need help. Her voice had been shaking. I got the job, but the pay is only $45,000. After taxes, I can't afford a car payment, insurance, and student loans. I can't ask Mom and Dad. They're already letting me live here rent-free. Can you, can you, help? Just temporarily, and I'd helped. Car payment, $485 monthly. Car insurance, $220 monthly. Student loan, $340 monthly. Credit card minimum, $295 monthly. Total, $1,340 monthly. Just until I get on my feet, she'd said. 6 months. Tops. 6 months became 12. 12 became 24. 24 became 36. 3 years. 36 months. $48,240 total. Then, 8 months ago, she'd called again. Claire, I'm drowning. I got another credit card to cover some emergency expenses, and now the minimum payment is killing me. Can you take over that one too? It's only $500 a month. Please, I'm so close to being stable. Another credit card. $500 monthly. New expenses from her lifestyle upgrades. $500 monthly for her gym membership, subscription boxers, and the designer coffee habit she posted about daily on Instagram. New total, $2,340 monthly. I made $72,000 annually as a museum curator, after taxes, rent, and basic expenses. That $2,340 represented almost half of what I had left each month. I'd stopped contributing to my retirement account, stopped taking vacations, started buying generic groceries and wearing clothes until they literally fell apart. Don't tell Mom and Dad, Natalie had said every single time. They'll worry, and it would hurt their feelings to know they couldn't provide everything I needed. So I'd stayed silent. Invisible. The dependable one who didn't need anything. Now, at Sunday dinner, I watched my mother's face glow with pride as Natalie described her new office, her new responsibilities, her bright future. You've worked so hard for this, Mom said. Unlike some people, you don't just coast through life. The words hit like a slap. Aunt Linda shifted uncomfortably. Dad focused intensely on his chicken. Some people take the easy route, Mom continued, warming to her theme. Museum work, government hours, nothing too stressful. But you, Natalie. You're in the private sector. Real pressure. Real results. That takes real work ethic. I set down my fork carefully. Mom, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Claire's choices, Mom said, talking over me. Not everyone can handle high-pressure careers. Some people are better suited to quieter work. Mom, that's not fair, Natalie said, but her voice was soft. Performative. She didn't mean it. I'm just being honest. Mom refilled her wine glass. Your sister actually works hard. She's ambitious. She's going places. And look at her, she's done it all on her own. No handouts, pure determination. No handouts. The phrase echoed in my head. Pure determination. I looked at Natalie. She had the grace to look slightly uncomfortable, but she didn't correct Mom. Didn't say, actually, Claire has been paying my bills for 3 years. She just reached for the breadbasket. Well, I said quietly, I'm glad Natalie's hard work is paying off. See? Mom smiled at me. You understand. You're not ambitious like your sister, but you're supportive. That's important too. I pulled my phone from my purse, opened my banking app while Mom continued talking about Natalie's promotion party, which I apparently hadn't been invited to. Auto Pay Manager for recurring payments. Morrison Auto Finance $485. Cancel State Farm Insurance due $120. CANCEL Fed Loan. Servicing $340. Cancel Chase Credit Card $4,847 500. Second screen. Are you sure you want to cancel these recurring payments? I looked up. Natalie was showing Aunt Linda photos of her new office on her phone. Mom was describing Natalie's incredible work ethic to Uncle Tom. Dad was quietly eating, avoiding eye contact with everyone. My thumb hovered over the screen. Your sister actually works hard. No handouts. Pure determination. I tapped confirm. 4 notifications appeared. Recurring payments canceled. No further automatic transfers will be processed. I set my phone face down on the table and picked up my fork. This chicken is delicious, Mom, I said. She barely looked at me. Thank you, dear. The conversation moved on. Natalie's promotion, her new responsibilities. Her apartment hunting. Apparently, she was finally moving out of Mom and Dad's place now that she could afford it, with her $65,000 salary. That would start in 30 days. Her car payment was due in 5 days. I took another bite of chicken and smiled. I remembered the first time I'd realized I was invisible to them. I was 11 years old. Natalie was 13. I'd won second place in the regional science fair for a project on water filtration systems. I'd spent 3 months building a working model, testing it, documenting everything. I'd burst through the front door with my blue ribbon and certificate. Mom. Dad. I won second place. Mom was on the phone in the kitchen. Eme. Just a minute, Claire. Linda Sarias, I'm still here. Dad was in the garage with Natalie, looking at her bike. That's great, honey. Nat, I think we need to adjust your seat height. I'd stood in the hallway, holding my ribbon, waiting for someone to ask about it. Nobody ever did. That night at dinner, Natalie mentioned she'd tried out for the school play. Oh, honey. Mom had jumped up from her chair. Tell us everything. Which part did you audition for? Just a background role. I probably won't get it. Don't say that. You're so talented. Of course, you'll get it. They'd spent 20 minutes discussing Natalie's 30-second audition. My blue ribbon stayed in my backpack until I quietly put it in a box under my bed. The pattern had continued through high school. She worked so hard to get here, Mom had said, crying actual tears at dinner. We're so proud of you, Natalie. I'd gotten a full scholarship to the University of Washington. Mom's response. Well, you were always good at school. That's your thing. Natalie had dropped out of community college after 1 semester. Mom's response. College isn't for everyone. Natalie is too creative for traditional education. I'd graduated with honors, got my master's degree, landed my curator position, Every achievement met with minimal acknowledgement. Natalie had worked a series of retail jobs, married a guy she'd known for 4 months, moved to Portland, and divorced him 18 months later. Every struggle met with excessive sympathy and support. The scapegoat and the golden child. I'd learned the terms in therapy, which I started 2 years ago when I finally admitted to myself that something was deeply wrong with my family dynamics. Your role was assigned before you could speak. My therapist, Dr. Sarah Kim, had explained. Natalie is the golden child. She can do no wrong. Every struggle is external. Every success is extraordinary. You're the scapegoat. You can do no right. Every success is expected. Every struggle is your own failure. But why? Because families need those roles sometimes. It's dysfunctional, but it serves a purpose. Natalie gives them someone to rescue. You give them someone to ignore guilt-free, because you don't need anything. Can it change? Dr. Kim had given me a long look. Not unless they want it to, and usually, they don't. The system works for them. Now, sitting at Sunday dinner, I watched the system work perfectly. Natalie received praise for achievements I'd been funding. I received criticism for not being ambitious enough while paying for her ambition, and Mom orchestrated it all with the certainty of someone who knew exactly how the script went. After dinner, I helped clear the table. Natalie disappeared to take a phone call. Mom and Aunt Linda went to the living room to look at fabric samples for something. Dad cornered me in the kitchen. Your mother didn't mean anything by it, he said quietly. Yes, she did. She's just proud of Natalie. The divorce was hard on her. The divorce was 3 years ago. Dad, you know how your mother is. She doesn't see me. I know. He flinched. That's not fair. Isn't it? I loaded plates into the dishwasher. Name one thing I've accomplished that Mom celebrated. 1. He opened his mouth, closed it, looked away. That's what I thought. You're different from Natalie. You don't need the same kind of support. I needed to not be insulted at dinner. That's a pretty low bar. Claire, it's fine, Dad. I'm used to it. I finished loading the dishwasher and grabbed my purse. In the living room, I could hear Mom and Aunt Linda laughing. Natalie's voice joined them. The phone call must have ended. I didn't say goodbye. Just left. Nobody noticed. I drove home to my studio apartment, 550 square feet, $1,400 monthly, and sat on my couch with a cup of tea. My cat, Margaret, named after Margaret Mead, jumped into my lap. My phone stayed silent. No thanks for coming. No sorry about Mom. No, are you okay? Nothing. At 9:47 p.m., I pulled up my spreadsheet, the one I'd been maintaining for 3 years. Natalie Morrison, financial support minus 2020-2023 car payment, $485 by 36 months equals $17,460. Insurance, $220x 36 months equals $7,920. Student loan, $340x 36 months equals $12,240. Credit card 1, $295 by 36 months equals $10,620. Credit card 2, $500 by 8 months equals $4,000 total. $52,240, $52,240. Given silently. Automatically. While being told I didn't work hard enough, I looked at my banking app. The canceled payments stared back at me. Natalie's car payment was due Thursday. Today was Sunday. 4 days. I went to bed and slept better than I had in 3 years. 28 months later, I stood in my new apartment overlooking Elliott Bay, watching ferries cross the water in the late afternoon sun. The movers finished with the bedroom, Marcus said from behind me. Where do you want this box labeled books, anthropology, study? Second shelf from the top. Marcus Chun, 40 years old. Environmental attorney. I'd met him 18 months ago at a museum fundraiser where his firm was a sponsor. We'd talked for 3 hours about conservation policy, cultural heritage, and why Seattle had the best coffee, but the worst traffic. Want to get coffee sometime? He'd asked at the end of the night. Only if it's not in traffic, I'd said. He'd laughed. actually laughed. Not a polite chuckle, but a real laugh. We'd been inseparable since. "This place is incredible," Marcus said now, joining me at the window. 2 bedrooms, water view, that kitchen you've been dreaming about. I can actually afford it now, because you're not funding someone else's life anymore. Exactly. The apartment was $2,800 monthly, twice what I'd paid for my studio. But my salary had increased too. After the no contact with my family, I'd thrown myself into work with a focus I'd never managed before. 6 months after that Sunday dinner, I'd curated an exhibit on indigenous art of the Pacific Northwest that had broken attendance records. The museum director had been impressed. "Your attention to detail is extraordinary, Claire. How would you feel about leading our new contemporary arts wing?" The promotion had come with a title change, senior curator, and a salary increase to $89,000. 12 months after that, I'd secured a grant for $1.2 million to fund cultural education programs. The board had promoted me again. Chief curator, $108,000 annually. "You've transformed this institution," the board chair had said. "We want to make sure you stay." Now, at 33 years old, I made more than I'd ever imagined. My savings account held $67,400. My retirement account, the one I'd stopped contributing to while paying Natalie's bills, was growing again. $94,300. I'd taken 3 vacations in 2 years. Vancouver Island, with Marcus, a solo trip to New Mexico to visit museums, a week in Costa Rica for Marcus's friend's wedding. Each time I'd spent money on myself, the guilt had been quieter than the time before. "Your family still hasn't reached out?" Marcus asked, his arm around my waist. "Not in over 2 years." After that Sunday dinner, I'd gone silent, stopped responding to group texts, stopped attending holidays, stopped existing in their world. The first month had been quiet, then the messages had started. "Mom, are you coming to Thanksgiving?" Me. No response. "Natalie, did I do something wrong?" Me. No response. "Dad, your mother is worried about you." Me. No response. After 6 weeks, Natalie had called. I'd let it go to voicemail. "Claire, what's going on?" "Mom said you've been distant." "Did something happen?" "Call me back." I'd deleted the voicemail without responding. 3 days later, another call. Another voicemail. "Okay, seriously, this is getting ridiculous. If you're mad about something, just say it. Don't be passive-aggressive." I'd blocked her number. Then the emails had started. From Mom, from Natalie, from Aunt Linda. All of them concerned. All of them confused. None of them acknowledging what had happened. Dr. Kim had supported my silence completely. "You don't owe them an explanation," she'd said. "You've spent 30 years explaining yourself." They never listened. Silence is a boundary. And boundaries don't require justification. They'll think I'm being cruel. They thought you were being generous when you paid your sister's bills. Their opinion of your behavior has never been accurate. Why do you care about it now? I'd sat with that question. "I don't," I'd finally said. "I don't care anymore." The therapy work over those 2 years had been intensive. Understanding family systems, recognizing my role, learning that I'd been assigned a part in a play I never auditioned for. The scapegoat serves a function, Dr. Kim had explained. You absorbed the family's dysfunction so they didn't have to address it. You were the problem they could point to, which meant they didn't have to look at their own patterns. But I wasn't a problem. Exactly. You were too competent, too independent, too successful. That threatened the narrative. So, they minimized your achievements and maximized your perceived flaws. Can it change? Not without their willingness to change. And change is threatening to systems that rely on stability, even dysfunctional stability. So I'd stopped trying to change them and started building my own life. The museum work flourished. Without the constant drain of Natalie's expenses, I'd had the mental energy to be creative, ambitious, strategic. My exhibits were winning awards, my grant applications were successful. My reputation in the nonprofit arts world was growing. You've become one of the most respected curators in the Pacific Northwest. The museum director had told me at my last review. Institutions are starting to recruit you. I'm happy here. Good, because we're increasing your budget by 40% next quarter. Marcus had entered my life at exactly the right time. Not to save me, I'd already saved myself back to partner with me. He had his own successful career, his own apartment, his own life. We complemented each other instead of completing each other. I like that you don't need me, he'd said once, 6 months into dating. That's an odd thing to like. No, it's perfect. You want me. You choose me. But you don't need me to function. That's the healthiest thing I've ever experienced. My therapist would be proud of you for recognizing that. Your therapist sounds smart. She is. You'd like her. Now, standing in our new shared apartment, we decided to move in together. After a year of dating, I felt a peace I'd never experienced in my family home. What are you thinking about? Marcus asked. How quiet my life is now. Quiet good or quiet bad? Quiet, perfect. My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer, my friend from grad school who'd become my closest confidant over the past 2 years. Drinks Thursday. I have news. I texted back, absolutely. That new place in Ballard, perfect. 6 p.m. See you there. Marcus read over my shoulder. Jennifer's the one who works at the Gates Foundation. Yeah. She's been up for a promotion. Good people in your life now. The best people. It was true. Once I'd stopped spending all my emotional energy on my family, I'd had room for real friendships. Jennifer, who celebrated my successes, genuinely, Marcus's friends, who'd welcomed me into their group without drama, my colleagues at the museum, who respected my work. People who showed up, people who saw me, people who didn't need anything from me except my company. You know what's funny? I said to Marcus. What? My family used to say I wasn't ambitious, but I think the opposite was true. I was so ambitious I was funding someone else's ambition while barely keeping my own alive. And now I'm funding my own life. It turns out I'm very ambitious when I'm not being bled dry. He kissed the top of my head. I'm so proud of you. For what? For choosing yourself. Not everyone can do that. That night, we ordered Thai food and ate it on the floor of our new living room, surrounded by half-unpacked boxers. Margaret prowled through everything, investigating her new territory. To new beginnings, Marcus said, raising his beer. 2 new beginnings. My phone stayed silent. No family reaching out. No crisis to manage. No emergency requiring my immediate financial intervention. Just peace. Just life. Just me, finally living for myself. I pulled up my financial dashboard before bed. Savings, $67,400. Investments, $94,300. Monthly expenses, fully covered with money left over. The math was simple. $2,340 monthly for 28 months. $65,520 that had stayed in my accounts instead of disappearing into Natalie's. I'd invested most of it, watched it grow. Watched my life expand instead of contract. My last thought before falling asleep. I made the right choice. And the crisis found me anyway. I was in my office at the museum, reviewing proposals for next year's exhibitions, when my desk phone rang. Claire Chun, I answered, still reading. Ms. Chun, this is Rebecca Larson, from Seattle Magazine. We're doing a feature on rising stars in Seattle arts, and you're one of our profiles. Do you have a few minutes? I set down the proposal. A profile. Your work on the Indigenous Arts exhibit and the recent $1.2 million grant caught our attention. Plus, your innovative approach to community engagement. We'd love to feature you in our October issue. Yes. Yes, that would be wonderful. The interview lasted 40 minutes. Rebecca asked about my philosophy, my background, my vision for Seattle's arts community. She asked about my salary public record for nonprofit employees and seemed impressed when I confirmed my $108,000 compensation. And you're only 33. 33 last month. Yes. Remarkable. Can we send a photographer next week for the photo shoot? After we hung up, I sat at my desk feeling oddly exposed. A magazine profile. public recognition, my name and accomplishments in print. My family would see it. I pushed the thought away and returned to work. The article came out 6 weeks later. October issue, page 43. A full-page spread with my photo professional shot in the museum gallery and a 900-word article titled Claire Chun, Redefining Seattle's Cultural Landscape. The piece was glowing. It detailed my exhibits, my grants, my vision. It mentioned my remarkable rise from quiet curator to one of the city's most influential voices in arts and culture. It included my salary, my achievements, my quotes about making art accessible to underserved communities. Jennifer texted me a photo of the article. "You're famous. So proud of you." Marcus brought home 3 copies. One for us, one for your office, one to frame. My colleague Dr. Patricia Rodriguez stopped by my office. "Claire, this is wonderful. The museum is getting calls asking about your programs." I should have been purely happy. Instead, I felt a cold knot of dread. They were going to see this. At 4:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. At 5:12 p.m., another call. Different unknown number. At 5:33 p.m., a text from a number I'd blocked years ago. "Natalie," the message appeared as a notification despite the block. "We need to talk. Call me." I deleted the notification. At 6:08 p.m., my work email dinged. From Rachel Morrison Mom's email to Claire Chun. Subject: Your article, Claire. We saw your article in Seattle Magazine. We had no idea you were doing so well. Why didn't you tell us? We're your family. We need to talk about some things. Please call me. Mom. I stared at the email for a long moment, then archived it without responding. At 7:22 p.m., Marcus got home from work. "You okay? You're staring at your laptop like it insulted you." "They found me." The article. He set down his briefcase. "What do you want to do?" "Nothing. Absolutely nothing." "Then that's what we'll do." But they didn't accept nothing. Over the next 48 hours, my phone collected 17 missed calls, 23 text messages, and 9 emails. "Mom, please call us." This silence is childish. "Natalie, I don't understand why you're being like this." "Dad, your mother is very upset." "This isn't like you." "Aunt Linda, whatever happened, family should talk." "Uncle Tom, saw your article. Impressive. Call your mother." Even my cousin Emma, who I'd barely spoken to in years. "Hey Claire, congrats on the article. Your mom is worried though. Maybe give her a call." "Mom, I didn't respond to any of them. Dr. Kim's advice. They're escalating because your boundary is holding." This is when most people crack. "Don't crack." "I won't." "Good. Remember, their crisis is not your emergency." On the 3rd day, after the article published, a Saturday, they made their move. I was at home making breakfast with Marcus when the intercom buzzed. "Delivery for Chun," the voice said. "I didn't order anything," I said into the speaker. "Says it's from your family. Should I send them up?" My stomach dropped. "Them. 3 people. Your mom, sister, and... No. Tell them I'm not home. They can see your car in the garage. Miss?" I looked at Marcus. He was already moving to the door. "Tell them to leave," Marcus said into the intercom, his lawyer voice activated. "The resident does not wish to receive visitors. If they don't leave, we'll call building security." A pause. "Then, they're saying they'll wait. Call building security now. Have them removed for trespassing." I sat down at the kitchen counter, my hands shaking. "They came to my home." "They violated your boundary," Marcus corrected. "That's escalation. Classic pattern." 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Mom. I didn't answer. A voicemail appeared. I played it on speaker so Marcus could hear. "Claire, this is ridiculous. We're your family. We just want to talk. We drove all the way here, brought you flowers and a cake, and you won't even let us in. What have we done? That's so terrible. Your sister is crying in the car. Your father is hurt. I'm disappointed in you. We raised you. better than this. Call me immediately. Claire? The voicemail ended. Notice, Marcus said calmly, how there's no acknowledgement of your boundary. No respect for your space. No curiosity about why you might want distance. Just guilt, shame, and demands. I see that. Good. Because they're going to escalate more before they give up. He was right. That evening, my work email received a message from Natalie's personal account. Claire, fine. You want to play games? Let's be clear about some things. I saw your article. $108,000 salary. Nice. Real nice. Meanwhile, I've been drowning since you cut me off. Do you know what happened after you stopped paying my bills? My car got repossessed. My insurance lapsed. I got into a fender bender without coverage and had to pay $3,700 out of pocket. My credit score tanked. I had to move back in with mom and dad again. I couldn't afford the security deposit on an apartment, even with my promotion. You did this. You had the money to help, and you chose to let me suffer instead. All because mom hurt your feelings one time at dinner. Grow up, Claire. Family helps each other. I need $8,000 for a used car and insurance. It's pocket change for you now. Prove you're not the selfish person you're acting like. Natalie, I read it twice. Then I forwarded it to Dr. Kim with a note. Is this what gaslighting looks like? Her response came within an hour. Textbook Darvo. Deny her responsibility. Attack your character. Reverse victim and offender. She's making herself the victim of your boundary. Don't engage. I forwarded the email to Marcus next. His response, don't respond. Document everything. If this escalates to harassment, we'll need evidence. I saved the email and blocked Natalie's personal address from reaching my work account. That night, I couldn't sleep. Marcus held me on the couch while I processed. I gave her $52,000 over 3 years. I said, and she thinks I owe her more. Because in her mind, you were never giving, you were fulfilling your role. The invisible supporter. When you stopped, you broke the rules of the system. The system is insane. Most dysfunctional family systems are. What if she's right? What if I am being selfish? Claire? Marcus turned to face me. You paid half your income to your sister for 3 years while she and your mother insulted you. You stopped. That's not selfishness. That's self-preservation. It feels cruel. That's because they've spent your whole life teaching you that protecting yourself is cruel. It's not, it's healthy. I leaned against him. Thank you. For what? For seeing clearly when I can't. The next day, Sunday, they tried again. This time, they showed up at the museum. I was giving a private tour to a potential major donor when the security guard called my office. Ms. Chun, there are 3 people at the front desk asking for you. They say they're your family. Tell them I'm in a meeting. They say it's an emergency. It's not. Please ask them to leave. 15 minutes later, another call. Ms. Chun, they're refusing to leave. They're saying they need to talk to you about an urgent family matter. I excused myself from the tour and walked to the security desk. Mom, Dad, and Natalie stood in the museum lobby. Mom's face was red. Dad looked uncomfortable. Natalie was on her phone. I'm in the middle of a meeting with a donor. Primera Syed calmly. You need to leave. We've been trying to reach you for a week, Mom said loudly. Several museum visitors turned to look. You won't answer calls. You won't respond to emails. What were we supposed to do? You were supposed to respect my boundary. Boundary? Mom's voice pitched higher. You're our daughter. I'm also an adult with a job. You're disrupting my workplace. Maybe if you'd answer your phone? Security, please escort these people out of the building. Claire. Mom looked shocked. Actually, shocked. Like the consequences of her actions had never occurred to her. Dad put his hand on Mom's arm. Rachel, let's go. No. She needs to hear this. Mom turned back to me. Your sister needs help. Real help. You have the money to provide it. This is what family does. No. I said calmly. This is what ATMs do. I'm not an ATM. How dare you? You have 30 seconds to leave before I have you formally trespass from this property. Natalie finally looked up from her phone. You're being insane. 20 seconds. Fine. Natalie grabbed Mom's arm. Let's go. She's not worth it. They left. I returned to my donor tour, apologizing for the interruption. Family emergency. The donor asked sympathetically. Family boundary enforcement. I corrected. My apologies. She smiled. Good for you. Boundaries are important. We completed the tour. She pledged $50,000 to our education programs. That evening, I came home to find Marcus had ordered dinner and opened a bottle of wine. Heard you had an eventful day, he said. You heard. Your colleague, Dr. Rodriguez, called me. Wanted to make sure you were okay. I'm fine. I know you are, but you're also allowed to not be fine. I sat down on the couch. Margaret immediately climbed into my lap. They're not going to stop, are they? Not until they accept that you're serious, which means they'll probably escalate at least one more time. What's the next level of escalation? Usually? Health scares or legal threats? Great. Looking forward to that. Marcus sat beside me. Whatever they try next, we'll handle it. Together? Together? I like that word. Me too. My phone buzzed. Another unknown number. I blocked it without looking. The health scare came 3 days later. I was in a morning meeting when my personal cell rang. Unknown number. I sent it to voicemail. 2 minutes later, the same number called my work line. Ms. Chun, someone named Linda, is calling for you. She says it's about your father. She sounds upset. My stomach clenched. Put her through. Claire. Aunt Linda's voice was shaking. Your father's in the hospital. Swedish Medical Center. You need to come now. What happened? Heart attack. They're running tests. Your mother needs you. I'll be there in 30 minutes. I grabbed my coat, told my assistant to reschedule my afternoon, and drove to the hospital with my hands tight on the wheel. If this is real, I thought, then I'm a terrible daughter. If this is fake, I thought, then they're even worse than I believed. I walked into the cardiac wing and found Mom, Natalie, and Aunt Linda in the waiting room. Mom's face was dry. No tears? No red eyes. Natalie was scrolling through her phone. Aunt Linda looked genuinely worried. Where's Dad? I asked. With the doctors, Mom said. Her voice was calm. Too calm for someone whose husband just had a heart attack. What happened? This morning, he collapsed in the kitchen. Clutching his chest, I called 911 immediately. I turned to the nurse's station. Excuse me, I'm here for David Morrison. I'm his daughter. The nurse checked her computer. Mr. Morrison, yes. He was brought in this morning with a heart attack. More typing. A frown. I don't see a David Morrison checked in today. My blood ran cold. Check the emergency room. I have access to all departments. No David Morrison in our system. I turned slowly to face my mother. Where is he? Mom's face shifted. Cotties. The doctors are with him. There is no David Morrison in this hospital. My voice was ice. Where is he? Natalie stood up. Claire, stop being dramatic. Is he even sick? The silence answered everything. Oh my God. I felt dizzy. You made it up. You lied about Dad having a heart attack to get me here. We needed to talk to you. Mom's voice rose. You wouldn't answer calls. You wouldn't let us in. What were we supposed to do? Not lie about a medical emergency. It worked, didn't it? Natalie crossed her arms. You're here. I looked at all three of them. Mom, defiant. Natalie, annoyed. Aunt Linda, finally looking uncomfortable. This is insane, I said quietly. This is genuinely insane. What's insane is you abandoning your family. Mom stepped closer. We saw that article. We saw how much money you're making. You reliving in a fancy apartment with your boyfriend while your sister struggles to afford a used car. I paid Natalie's bills for 3 years. The waiting room went silent. What? Aunt Linda looked between us. I paid her car, insurance, student loans, and credit cards. $52,000 over 3 years, while she told everyone I never helped. While you told me I didn't work hard. Mom's face paled. That's not ... It's completely true. I pulled out my phone. Want to see the spreadsheet? Claire? We didn't know. Aunt Linda started. She knew. I pointed at Natalie. She begged me not to tell you. She said it would embarrass her, so I paid silently while she performed this fiction that she did it all herself. That's not fair, Natalie said. You offered to help. I helped because you called me crying. You said 6 months. It became 3 years. And, when I finally stopped, you called me selfish. At Sunday dinner, in front of everyone, I didn't, Mom did. You sat there and let her. Mom found her voice. We would have helped if we'd known, but you didn't know because Natalie's image mattered more than the truth. Just like my achievements don't matter, because they don't fit your narrative. That's not true, Mom said, but her voice lacked conviction. Name one thing I've accomplished that you celebrated. I crossed my arms. One thing, any achievement from my entire life that you marked as significant. She opened her mouth, closed it. Looked at Natalie, looked at Aunt Linda. That's what I thought. Claire, we're proud of you. No, you're not. You're proud of Natalie. I'm just the supporting character who doesn't need attention, except when you need money. We don't need your money, Natalie snapped. We need you to act like family. Family doesn't lie about heart attacks. Family doesn't publicly humiliate each other. Family doesn't take $52,000 and call the giver selfish. You're twisting everything. I'm done. I turned toward the exit. Claire? Wait! Mom grabbed my arm. I pulled away. Don't touch me. We can fix this. We can talk. There's nothing to fix. This is who you are. This is who you've always been. I just finally stopped accepting it. You're going to regret this, Natalie said. You're going to end up alone and miserable, and no one will care because you burned every bridge. I looked at her. Really, looked at her, saw the desperation behind the anger. I'm not alone, Natalie. I have a partner who respects me. Friends who value me. A career I built myself. What do you have? A promotion you can't afford to celebrate because you spent 3 years living beyond your means on someone else's money. Her face went red. That's what I thought. I walked out of the hospital. Behind me, I heard Mom calling my name, Aunt Linda saying, "Let her go, Rachel." I drove home with my hand steady on the wheel. Marcus was working from home. He took one look at my face and closed his laptop. Tell me. I told him everything. The fake heart attack. The confrontation, the spreadsheet, revelation. They faked a medical emergency. His voice was flat with disbelief. That's potentially criminal. I don't want to press charges. I just want them gone. Okay, then we make that happen. He pulled out his laptop. I'm drafting a cease and desist letter, official legal document, requesting no further contact. If they violate it, we can pursue a restraining order. Is that necessary? They lied about a heart attack to manipulate you. Yes, it's necessary. The letter was drafted by that evening. Clear, professional, legally binding. To the Morrison family, you are hereby notified to cease all contact with Claire Chun, effective immediately. This includes, but is not limited to, phone calls to personal or work numbers, text messages, emails to personal or work addresses, physical visits to residence or workplace, contact through third parties, social media messages or comments. Any violation of this request will be documented and may result in legal action, including but not limited to restraining orders and harassment charges. Ms. Chun has made her boundaries clear. Continued violation of these boundaries constitutes harassment under Washington state law. This is your only warning. Marcus Chun-esque. Evergreen Legal Group, on behalf of Claire Chun Marcus, sent it via certified mail, copies to Mom, Dad, and Natalie. It'll arrive in 2 days, he said. After that, if they contact you, we document everything and file for a restraining order. Thank you. You don't have to thank me for protecting you. That's what partners do. That night, Dr. Kim called for an emergency session. A fake heart attack, she said. That's a new low even for dysfunctional families. I feel like I should feel worse about it because what if I'm wrong? What if I'm overreacting? What if they really do care and just express it badly? Claire, people who care about you don't fake medical emergencies. People who care about you don't publicly humiliate you. People who care about you don't take $50,000 and call you selfish. People who care about you respect your boundaries. But they're my family. Family is people who love you, support you, and respect you. DNA doesn't automatically create family. Behavior does. I sat with that. I've built a real family, haven't I? Marcus, Jennifer, my colleagues. You have, and that family shows up for you without manipulation, exploitation, or abuse. That's what real family looks like. After the session, I felt clearer, stronger. My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. Drinks tomorrow. I want to hear about that donor meeting. I typed back. Absolutely. So much to tell you. Marcus coming? Probably. He's my buffer these days. Good man. See you at 6. Real friendship. Real support. Real family. The kind I'd built for myself. 11 months later, I stood in the Seattle Art Museum's main gallery, watching donors and board members mingle at our annual gala. The new wing is spectacular, a woman said, approaching me with champagne. You've transformed this space. Thank you, Mrs. Chun. I smiled at Marcus's mother. We're proud of what we've accomplished. Marcus tells me you're being considered for museum director. The current director is retiring next year. The board asked me to apply. You'll get it. Anyone can see you're extraordinary. Marcus appeared at my elbow, two champagne flutes in hand. Mom, stop embarrassing my fancy. The word still felt new. He'd proposed 3 months ago, on a beach in Oregon during sunset. Simple ring, simple question, simple yes. I'm not embarrassing her, I'm complimenting her. His mother smiled. There's a difference. She drifted away to talk to another board member. Marcus handed me a glass. You look happy, he observed. I am happy. And I was. Genuinely, completely happy. The past 11 months had been transformative. After the cease and desist letter, my family had tried to contact me 3 more times. Once, an email from Natalie apologizing. I'm sorry for how things escalated. Can we talk? I'd forwarded it to Marcus without responding. He'd documented it and sent a reminder of the cease and desist terms. Twice. A letter from Mom delivered to the museum. I don't understand what we did that was so wrong. Please give us a chance to make this right. I'd given the unopened letter to building security and filed a trespassing complaint. 3 times. Dad had called my work number. Claire, please. Your mother is falling apart. Can't we just have coffee? I'd hung up and blocked the number. After the 3rd violation, Marcus had filed for a formal restraining order. The judge had reviewed the evidence, the fake heart attack, the workplace harassment, the continued contact after cease and desist. Granted, she'd said, Ms. Morrison family, you are ordered to maintain a distance of at least 500 feet from Ms. Chun and to cease all forms of contact. Violation of this order will result in criminal charges. Mom had cried in court. Dad had looked shell-shocked. Natalie had glared at me like I'd betrayed her. But the order had held. 6 months of silence followed. Then, 3 weeks ago, Jennifer had texted me. Random question due. You have a sister named Natalie. My stomach had clenched. Yes. Why? She applied for a job at the Gates Foundation. Listed you as a reference. I flagged it as inappropriate and rejected her application. Just wanted you to know, thank you, we're not in contact. Figured, Her resume had some questionable claims about independently financing her career advancement. Red flags everywhere. She's creative with narratives. Clearly, I'd told Marcus that night. He'd documented it as another attempted contact, another violation pattern. She's desperate, he'd said. Her imaginary success story is catching up with her. Not my problem. Exactly. Now, at the gala, I looked around at the life I'd built. The museum wing I'd designed, the board members who respected me, the donors who trusted my vision, the colleagues who'd become friends. Dr. Patricia Rodriguez approached with her husband. Claire, this event is magnificent. You've outdone yourself. It's a team effort. Don't be modest. We all know you're the vision behind this. Marcus squeezed my hand. Pride without possession, support without expectation. Later, during speeches, the current museum director called me to the stage. Claire Chun joined us 6 years ago as a junior curator. In that time, she's transformed not just our exhibits, but our entire approach to community engagement. Under her leadership, we've doubled our attendance, tripled our grants, and become a model for cultural institutions across the country. Applause filled the gallery. Tonight, I'm pleased to announce that when I retire next June, I'll be recommending Claire as my successor. She represents the future of arts leadership. More applause. Marcus caught my eye and smiled. I gave a brief speech thanking the team, the board, the community, and returned to Marcus's side. Director Chun, he said, I like it. It's not official yet. It will be. That night, back in our apartment, I pulled up my financial dashboard. Savings, $143,800. Investments, $287,400. Retirement, $198,900. Total net worth, $630,100. In 11 months, my wealth had grown more than in the entire previous decade, because I wasn't funding someone else's fiction anymore. What are you looking at? Marcus asked from the kitchen. My bank account. Want to know something funny? Always. My net worth is $630,000. In 3 years of supporting Natalie, I gave her $52,000, which is less than 8% of what I've built without. Her perspective is powerful. It really is. My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. Saw your speech tonight on the museum's Instagram. You're a star. So proud of you. I texted back. Thank you. Drinks next week. Always. Your treat. Fancy. Museum director. Not director yet. Please? It's inevitable. I smiled and set my phone down. Marcus joined me on the couch. You never talk about them anymore. My family. Yeah. I thought about it. There's nothing to say. They're not part of my life. They haven't been for almost 3 years. Any regrets? None. Is that terrible? No. It's healthy. It's healthy. You protected yourself from people who harmed you. That's not terrible. That's survival. Dr. Kim says I've graduated from scapegoat to autonomous adult. Dr. Kim is right. She usually is. We sat in comfortable silence, Margaret purring between us. Want to know what I learned? I said. Eventually. Tell me. The family I was born into cast me in a role. The invisible supporter. The one who gives without receiving. The one who succeeds without acknowledgement. I spent 28 years playing that role perfectly. And now, I've recast myself. I'm the lead in my own story. They're not even extras anymore. They're just not in it. How does that feel? Like freedom. 3 months later, the museum board made it official. I would be the next museum director. Starting July 1st. Salary, $165,000. Budget authority, $12 million annually. Staff, 87 people. Vision, mine. The press release went out on a Tuesday. By Wednesday, it had been picked up by local news, arts publications, and the Seattle Times. By Thursday, I'd received 73 congratulatory messages from colleagues, donors, and friends. Not one from my family. The restraining order held. Jennifer threw me a celebration dinner. 12 people at a private room in a restaurant overlooking the Sound. Real friends, real, chosen family. To Claire, Jennifer said, raising her glass, who built an empire while everyone else was sleeping on her potential. To Claire, everyone echoed. Marcus kissed my cheek. I love you. I love you too. That night, lying in bed, I thought about the Sunday dinner 3 years ago. The moment that had changed everything. Your sister actually works hard. If Mom could see me now, what would she think? Then I realized I didn't care. Her opinion, their opinions had no power over me anymore. I'd stopped seeking approval from people who would never give it. I'd stopped funding people who would never appreciate it. I'd stopped accepting cruelty from people who called it love. I'd just stopped. And in that stopping, I'd found everything I'd been looking for. Peace, success, real love, real family. My phone buzzed one last time before I turned it off for the night. Unknown number. I deleted it without reading. Whatever they wanted, I didn't need to know. I had everything I needed right here. Epilogue. 1 year later, I walked into my office, the director's office, and found an envelope on my desk. No return address, just my name in Mom's handwriting. I almost threw it away unopened. But curiosity won. Inside, a single page. Claire, I saw the announcement about your museum winning the National Arts Award. I saw your photo accepting it. You looked so confident, so happy. I barely recognized you. Not because you've changed, but because I never really saw you before. Your father and I are in counseling, trying to understand where we went wrong. The therapist asked us to describe each of our children. We talked about Natalie for 20 minutes. About you. We struggled to say anything beyond she was always fine on her own. Was she? The therapist asked. Or did you decide she was fine so you didn't have to see her? I don't have an answer to that. Natalie is working 2 jobs to pay off her debts. She moved to Tacoma. We see her once a month. It's hard, but she's learning. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking for contact. I'm just asking you to know. I see now what I didn't see then. You were never the problem. We were. I hope your life is everything you deserve it to be. Mom, I read it twice. Felt nothing. No anger. No vindication. No satisfaction. Just nothing. I put the letter in my desk drawer and went to my morning meeting about the museum's expansion plans. Marcus called at lunch. Want to grab food? Can't back-to-back meetings, but dinner at home tonight? Perfect. Perfect. I'll cook. You're the best. I know. I hung up smiling. That evening, I told Marcus about the letter over dinner. How do you feel? He asked. Indifferent. That's healthy. Is it? Shouldn't I feel something? You did feel something. For 28 years, you're allowed to be done feeling. I am done. Completely done. Good day. We finished dinner talking about our upcoming trip to Japan. Our wedding was planned for spring, small ceremony, close friends only. Real family only. Before bed, I looked at the letter one more time. I see now what I didn't see then. Too late, I thought. But I didn't say it out loud. I didn't need to. The closure wasn't in her recognition. The closure was in my freedom. I'd built a life she couldn't touch, a success she couldn't diminish, a happiness she couldn't disrupt. I'd stopped waiting for her to see me. I'd started seeing myself. And that made all the difference. I put the letter back in the drawer and turned off the light. Tomorrow, I had a museum to run, a staff to lead, a vision to execute. Tomorrow, I had a partner who loved me, friends who celebrated me, a career I'd earned. Tomorrow, I had everything, without them, because of me. And that was enough. That was more than enough. That was everything.